Here's an interesting idea that I encountered in the Bhagavad Gita as it is. And one way that we can relate to God is behaving as a parent to God. Now, how do you behave as a parent to God? Does that make any sense? If God is, basically the father, mother, the it that is higher, the ultimate source, how can you act as a parent to God? To understand this, we have to really look at what being a parent is. How do you behave towards a child when the child is developing? You want to teach the child, but first and foremost, especially in this context, you want to nurture the child. You want to be kind to the child. You want to treat that child as if it is everything in your world, as if that child, he or she, is the center of your entire world, of your entire focus, and you want to nurture that child. You want to raise that child in a way that they can basically go out into the world and benefit themselves and other people and live a full life and be a part of society. Maybe even follow a certain religion that you're a part of. But what parts of us being a parent to a human child apply to us being a parent to God? Assuming that any kind of relationship like this can exist between us and God. Well, I think that this very much applies to how we would act towards a statue of our idea of God. We would want to make it kind of the center of our space, of our room, or our shrine room, or our altar room, our spiritual room, or wherever we have it in our closet. I have mine in my room, of course, but wherever you have your image of God or your images of the gods, however you believe. You want to keep this space very clean, like you want to keep your kids clean. You want to kind of nurture the statue as if it was your own child. And you want to look at it as if the center of your compassion, the compassion in your heart is completely surrounding the statue. If I was acting as a parent to the statue, I would make constant offerings because like a child, you want to feed it constantly and have that mental focus on it in order to have all this preparation for making offerings and deciding what kind of ritual you're going to do. But having the statue as your central focus, like you would around a child that you're trying to raise. So I think that this idea of treating God as if you're the parent of God, is a good idea, but only to a certain degree. I don't think that we can tell God what to do or tell God how to treat us, but in certain circumstances, you could say, "Okay, come on, God, just help me out." And, talk to God in that way, but you can't just demand things of God. That just doesn't work. You can't demand things of the gods, and you can't imagine that you know better than the gods or God. Whatever however you worship the source, as one or as many. But, in certain circumstances, I think that this can actually increase our relationship to God and towards the compassionate side and to the very, familial connection side of our relationship to God, I guess you could say. Especially when it comes to offerings, when it comes to focus, when it comes to directing compassion towards God. And you want to direct all these things towards, your likeness of God that you worship God through. And mine is the Divine Mother Kali Ma. And I recognize other gods, of course, but I am first and foremost a devotee of the Divine Mother Kali Ma. So if I was treating her as my child, I would treat this statue very well, like I do. I would constantly look at it, constantly focus my compassion upon it, and receive compassion in return, and really try to understand the statue, all the symbology, make it a part of my existence to the extent that I do not think of myself without thinking of the Divine Mother Kali Ma. The statue being the focus. Just like a parent, you don't think of yourself without thinking of your child, at least a good parent. But anyway, I hope this video has been interesting. It's been a little weird. I know this is a weird idea, acting as if you're a parent of God. But really this practice is to focus your compassion to God and kind of have that compassionate and familial connection to where your world very much revolves around that connection and that connection being sustained and the proper energy coming back and forth, like in a parent-child relationship. But hey, thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been interesting. It's been kind of a weird video, but hey, if you have any ideas about what I got wrong, or maybe this idea is terrible to you, or maybe it's really interesting to you, feel free to shoot it down in the comment section below. I will try to get to them. There's been a lot of comments recently, but I've been trying to get to as many comments as possible. And if you like this video at all, hit that thumbs up down there. It really helps out the channel. And I will see all of you in the future. And tell me, how do you relate to God?